is Meljan and welcome to another Is It Worth the Grind video. Today we are looking into the IS7 and its line. We will start with the grind, but as always you can skip to whatever part you desire. So let's get in it. So first off at tier 5 we have the KV1, and what's interesting in this line that you actually have to get 2 tier 5s to advance to tier 6, and there's no way around it. Usually that's like a shortcut or something, but this is just to get an IS7 you need to grind 2 tier 5s, which is a bit weird, but there's nothing you can really do about it. When it comes to the KV1, one of the best tier 5 heavy tanks. It is slow, it is reasonably well armored, it has obvious weak spots on the front though, but the gun choices on this are really good. This 85mm gun is excellent, high rate of fire, high alpha damage, and it's quite inaccurate, but it's not that horrible. And as I said, the tank is quite slow, so the aiming feels alright. I mean, I don't really want to talk about research order here because everything here is really cheap, so whatever. You probably want to get all the engines and everything unlocked at these tiers though, so let's advance to the second tier 5, which is the KV1S. Used to be a tier 6 or power tier 6 at that, but as it stands now, it gets kind of the same gun as the KV1, slightly worse rate of fire, slightly better aiming time. The tank itself is faster, with probably slightly less armor, especially on the turret, but it's still a capable tier 5 heavy tank, and if you like to play for funsies on both of these tier 5s, you can put the 122mm howitzer. It's not going to be good at taking out anything that has any armor, but if you get to shoot like light tanks and shit, then this gun can be hilarious. Going to tier 6, KV85, this is where the KV1S used to be sitting. Now, as it stands, it's still a capable tank. You probably don't want to use this 122mm gun. I haven't actually played this tank after they changed it, but as far as I know, this gun is much better now. It has good rate of fire, decent accuracy, decent aiming time, and the tank itself is pretty mobile as well. Grind-wise, as always, you want to get pretty much everything here. You can skip to KV13 if you get the radios, but I wouldn't bother with the radios if you don't have to. Kind of waste the time, but turret is a necessary upgrade for actually to get any of the good guns, and you kind of want to get rid of this gun as fast as you can, so using the track modules to get the turret and the gun is probably not a bad idea at all. So at tier 7 we get to the IS. What's important to note here that you can get the gun and the turret without getting the track, so that probably is the research order. But you can get both of these. The difference here is not that major, so you probably, before getting the second 122mm gun, you probably want to get the engine and then get the second 122mm gun. Obviously the better guns on this tank, they're really nice punch, and the tank feels way better with these. Unlike the IS2, it doesn't have the extremely good premium ammo pen, but still the guns are more than capable of penetrating everything tier 8, and you will struggle a bit more with tier 9s, but you can go load some of the gold for that. Tactics playing IS, obviously trade shots, use your superior alpha damage. At tier 7 nothing hits harder than the IS, so might as well use it, well, apart from some TDs, but we don't usually count those in. At tier 8 we get to the IS3. So one of the most used tanks in any of the strongholds, team battles, or whatever the fuck you call those now. Let's see if you can actually mount everything without the stock tracks, and you can. So there's no point of getting the tracks before you get everything else. Obviously the gun you want to use is this BL9, an excellent gun for tier 8 heavy tank. Really good pen, good alpha, and rate of fire is a bit lackluster, but still, it's not as bad as on some other tanks like the T-34. Tank itself is really mobile and so on, so the engine, the same as you used on the IS, so you should already have this, and radios I wouldn't even bother. The interesting fact about the IS3 is that the stock turret is actually not that horrible. The frontal armor on it is not great, but the thing that lets IS3s down is the roof armor on the turret, and the stock turret actually has way more of that. But you obviously want to get rid of the stock turret as soon as possible. It will guarantee you better aiming stats as well, and pretty sure the view range as well. But yeah, view range as well. 330 view range is really horrible for tier 8 if you didn't realize that. But that's as much as the IS3 goes, and the tactics with this is also quite similar. Just try to trade shots, peekaboo, try to not get your hull exposed, because it's super easy to pen even for tier 7s. After that, we get to the most controversial tank in the line, the IS8. Let's see if you can do the same thing as you could with the IS3, and no, you can't. So you actually need to get the track module, or you need to get the tracks before researching everything else. As a stock grind stands, the IS8 is not the worst one ever, but the thing about the IS8, it is kind of a specific tank. Like, it doesn't, it's not as straightforward as the IS3 or the ISs, where you basically have a huge cannon and pretty decent armor. This tank is more, it has way less armor tier for tier than any of the previous ones. The hull on this is basically paper, which doesn't really make that big of a difference from the IS3, but the turret on this is also not as good as on the IS3 tier for tier, so you tend to get penetrated in this a lot, which will make the peekaboo tactics more important than ever. With this gun, it is pretty good, and the gun itself is actually, this is the best 122mm gun you'll find in any of the Russian tanks. This performs better as it will on the IS4, and the rate of fire on this is actually really similar as on the IS4. So it's a really nice gun, really high pen, decent DPM for a tier 9 as well. So try to use that in your advantage, and try not to get exposed, especially with your hull. It has some troll side armor, but it's not really gonna save you all that much. And after the IS8, we obviously get to the IS7. So here's the IS7, the beast itself. Always known for its troll armor. Let's look into that troll armor. So 150 lower plate, 150 upper plate. Obviously the lower plate not being angled so greatly is going to be a weak spot. But even that for tier 8s is almost impenetrable. And for tier 9s and 10s you have to get it flat to pen it. If the IS7 is slightly angled, it's actually one of the hardest tanks to pen in the game without using gold ammo. These values, I'm pretty sure, are a bit too high in the tank inspector, but still, maybe I'm just angling it too much. As you can see, getting a ridiculous combination of armor is not actually that hard on this tank. However, if the tank is badly angled, it's going to be really easy to pen. Tracks is always a good place to start. If you get an IS7 to shoot him in the side, try to get the front road wheel and track it and do damage at the same time. It's quite easy. You cannot really pull the shit off with that you can with the German tanks, where you shoot it under the track so into the upper hull, because spaced armor, bitch. This armor is quite ridiculous. I mean, there's no real reason it should be in the game, but I guess historically accurate and whatnot, Russian magic. Look at the armor values on the flat side armor part. It's ridiculous. I mean, sure, Russian engineering is shit, but I'm pretty sure it's still ridiculous. That being said, the rest of the side armor is not that good. You want to try to avoid to shoot this part at all costs, though, because it's highly likely that you won't even do damage ever with anything there. So try to avoid that. When we talk about the turret, there's no real weak spots on it, and it's probably the best turrets in the game. I mean, it's 270 armor, thickest, and it's angled really well, and this thinner the armor gets, the better it's angled, so there's no real weak spots on this turret. What I would recommend you to shoot is this part over here, if you can see it. If you cannot see it, I would recommend you to fuck off and find another enemy. But if you can see this, if you're driving like an E100 and face-hugging an IS7, this is what you want to shoot. You want to shoot it on the right side, because as you see, here's a cupola. It's not really a hitbox, but it's just going to be make your aiming harder. You want to shoot the right one because you can actually see what you're doing, and it should be an easy pen for you as well. Other than that, this is not really a weak spot. As you can see, 400 armor, weak spot my ass. And that's pretty much everything there is to say about the armor. It's ridiculously good. What else can we say? The lower plate is obviously weak spot, but as long as you can hide that, even the hull is ridiculously good. If you manage to use your gun depression, it's gonna pretty much all be auto bounce. So armor extremely good on the IS7. Let's look into the soft stats now. We're actually gonna not compare you to an E100. We'll compare it to an IS4. What's funny here is that the IS7's gun stats are pretty damn bad, but they don't lie to you. They don't fuck you up with the soft stats here, so you can expect about what you're getting. 3.4 second aiming time with decent enough soft stats on the aiming part means that the gun is actually not as horrible as it might seem. It's still not very reliable, but at least it doesn't lie to you about how good or bad it's gonna be, like it does on the IS4, which should be better, but really it isn't because of the soft stats, which fuck it over quite significantly. When we talk about power to weight ratio, 15.4 with 1000 horsepower engine. And here, however, the soft stats are slightly fucking the IS7 over. It's not that bad though, so the tank feels pretty decent. It turns like fucking crap though, so that is something you need to know. Top speed limit forward, 60 kilometers an hour. You're never really gonna reach it unless you're going downhill, but it's still kind of funny that you can do it. If we compare it to the more mobile of the heavy tanks at tier 10, the 113 gets better power to weight ratio, not by much, but it gets better soft stats as well on most terrains. So the 113 is going to be faster. It's gonna traverse so much faster as well. So IS7 is not really. You can't really compare it to the 113 mobility-wise just because of the traverse, but other than that, the IS7 is actually quite mobile, which is why it's so popular. That being said, I'm pretty sure we're done with talking about the stats, so we can get into the game. So first game, playing on El Haluf, playing solo in obviously tier 10 matchmaking. So first, before everything starts, let's look into some basic stats. So 2,158 points, which is a bit less than on most other super heavies, but IS7 can't really be called the super heavy, so it's a reasonable amount of hit points. Signal range 720, nobody cares. Top speed, as you saw, 59.6, ridiculous when you're going downhill, but never expect to reach it on a flat or uphill or whatever. Speed limit backwards, 15 kilometers an hour, decent enough, at least it's not 12. What else there is to note? Engine power 1050, I already saw that, 15.4 horsepower per ton. Traverse speed 28 degrees per second, really bad. This is where it shows that it's a heavy tank. What else there is? 400 meter view range, not typical Russian, but it's good. I mean, you just put optics on this and it's gonna be as any of your medium tanks. Stir traverse 25 degrees per second, also not very great. When it comes to the gun, 490 alpha, 250 penetration with AP, and damage per minute is around 2.1k without any equipment or consumables or OP cruise. What else? There is accuracy 0.4, not very good. Aiming time 3.4, but as you saw, the soft stats don't make this much worse. Gun depression -6 and elevation +18, which is not horrible. And now let's get into the actual gameplay. So far I haven't really done anything actually useful, so I've been shot to getting into this position, which is obviously totally worth it. It didn't pen the 268, but he didn't pen or even shoot me, so that's not really important. Now, as always, start the game like a complete ass, shoot the rock, aim at the rock, shoot the rock, no problem. And to be fair, this is probably the best map for the IS7 ever. This is the best spot for an IS7 ever. Look at the hull down cover you have here. Another bad shot by me, another shot into the rock, but hey, every good game has to start shitty, doesn't it? This waffle is way too greedy though, and the thing is, while I'm behind this rock, I'm not even scared that anybody can pen me, because they simply cannot. The waffle could get lucky and hit my cupola, but it's really unlikely, and IS7, as you can see, even when you angle as badly as he is, I still are unable to pen him. Probably with gold that shot would have went through, but since I'm shooting AP, and I will shoot AP till I ran out, it's not gonna be really a problem. Another bounce from the waffle, and he's dead now. I don't even know what he was thinking. He was mad for sure, but his play didn't make any fucking sense to be. That has to be said. So both of these gentlemen fired. I don't want to fuck with the IS7 since it's almost impossible to pen him at that angle. So I put one juicy one into the E100 with a nice roll as well, and just hog the rock, and the IS7 is unable to do shit against me at this angle, as you can clearly see. I'm gonna angle out and try to shoot him back, but that's never gonna work, so why even bother? Now I can pick up the kill on the ISU if I want to, should be able to stay kinda in cover. This is not the best angle I'm in, because my hull is kinda peeking over the rock, and it's not angled very well, so if they get lucky they might pen me. As you will see on this enemy IS7, you just have to hit it right when you angle like this, like he is, you just have to hit it right. The lights is usually a good indication, you want to shoot it there. if it's angled badly, but you never know. I mean, these tanks are random as fuck. You like some shots in this game should have been on my side. I'm not really. I didn't really see all of his aiming and shooting, but yeah. Hitting it at the bar on the E100 from this range is not really an issue. IS7 peeks out and kills the Tiger 2 on 1 health. That was my only backup in this game pretty much. So another shot into the E100. He doesn't really have a chance. First of all, he's in a really bad position, and second of all, he's an E100 and I'm an IS7. So even with his heat, if I stay hull down, he's almost unable to do shit against me. The thing that these two people needed to do is the IS7 should have just drive around me, and the E100 should have just shot me, but instead the IS7 managed to go for the facehug on the IS7. I'm gonna keep shooting the E100. Another roll, and the next one will kill him. And I'm actually gonna push out here to kill him, because it would be nice to take him out without any more trouble. And it should be really simple enough. And I'm being shot in the ass as well, which is quite unfortunate. This IS7 didn't even shoot at me yet, so I still have time. I will wait till he shoots before I do anything. And here you'll be able to see, this was me, by the way, playing IS7 without looking at any of the armor modules. So IS7 and IS7 modules, well, IS7 and IS7 duels where you have no idea what you're doing can be hilarious, to say the least. So in theory, if we just keep facehugging, there's nothing we can do to each other. Gold, no gold, it doesn't matter. We don't have enough gun depression to shoot in each other in the hull properly. Maybe I could have shot him there. If he angles his hull badly, I can try to pen him there, but as long as he doesn't do that, it's not gonna work. And now we go for mutual distraction. Both of us pen, and I roll higher, but I'm behind on this game anyway, so I might get fucked here. So I need to take care of that 140, actually let the IS7 go and kill the 140 before turning and angling for the IS7 once again. And yeah, pretty sure he hit the upper plate instead of the lower one, so he didn't pen. I'm actually gonna go around so I can make my shot count here, and look where I hit it. In the fucking magic space side armor zone, which barely starts there, but still. Flat side armor, better not pen. And now, basically, if I keep facehugging this guy all the fucking time, he can't really pen me. And I was just hoping that maybe he turns this turret even more, but he didn't, obviously, since he knows what he's dealing with, and I know what I'm dealing with. So I could speed this thing part of the game up, but I mean, it's just kind of funny to watch it as well. Not enough angle there, the tracks to pen him, but I'll just go for another facehug. He repairs his tracks, which he didn't really need to do there, since he would reload faster, and if I actually went besides him, he probably would have killed me. But he's looking for a shot on my turret, which is absolutely fine. I'm gonna wait till he fires, and it destroys my gun, however, so that's quite unfortunate. He actually wants to put distance between us. Maybe he has the module that says that I'm fucked, but that was an unlucky shot. If that hit the track, I would have penned him and done damage and tracked him. Sadly didn't pen, but hey, I'm not losing anything. He fired again. This time he doesn't let me split the distance, which is kind of what you want to do. But here we go. He angled this hull badly, and I managed to pen him. Going for a facehug, as always. Pretty much going for a facehug is what you do in that IS7 if you have a choice. And I have a choice here, and I'm going for a facehug. He's looking for shots again. I'm quite a bit of distance here. I didn't really want to shoot him here. I should have shot him in the hull right here, but the gun didn't traverse fast enough to, and I took the shot too early, so that was a bad play by me. But the enemy isn't doing shit at the moment anyways. He takes out my gun for the second time now. Know that I have only standard fire extinguisher because I haven't played the IS7 in quite a while. And he's doing something really weird now. He basically gave this away now. He showed me his side and he didn't fire. Now he misses me again and I have the kill. So it's pretty much game now. Pick up the kill on him. Almost ran out of ammo, but he was the last guy left, so it didn't matter. So here's the end plate. Ace tanker, 5,556 experience with triple and premium count. Steel wall, high caliber, 6,225 damage done. 0 assisted, 23 hits out of 28 shots fired. Only 28 credit profit, but that's because I wasted quite a lot of ammo on that IS7 where I really should not have. I had some bad shots and I shot rocks quite often, so it wasn't the best play by me, but it's still, like, IS7 pulled me through that game quite easily. Was close at the end, but the enemy IS7 kind of fed himself to me. That being said, I'm pretty sure we're ready to get into the second game, so let's do that. So here's the second game. What's important to note is if you do like my silly kind of videos, then you probably want to see this little game live on my Twitch channel. I'll put the link into the description how to do that. But for now I'll just do commentary over this one as well. But if you prefer watching this game live, you can obviously do that as well. So Fisherman's Bay, they have two good light tanks, so I'm obviously spotted. To be fair, I don't really give a fuck. I mean, this side armor is gonna pull me through unless like a 50B unloads into me, and 50B doesn't really have shots into me, and I'm pretty much gone as well. And accuracy, how does it work? Not like you would expect, at least. Going to the city with an IS7, you don't really have to make up your tactics. You have all of it. It's pretty damn simple. You just go to somewhere where you can go hull down, and then you sit there. What's important in this game is to find out which side the RD is on and which side in the city is safe or is not safe. And here's my first targets. I'm gonna go for the Tiger 2 because that IS-5 is angling like a bastard. So Tiger 2 is gonna be easy damage, which I'm going to take, and screw that IS-5. So the equipment I'm using on the IS7 at the moment is rammer, verse tabs, and gun lane drive. That 3.4 second aiming time really needs that gun lane drive, so you don't have to sit still for too much, and you can actually like make plays that are reasonably timed, and you don't lose out on your advantage on reloads and so on. Optics is an option. I wouldn't really go for it all that much because, as I said, the aiming time is a bit of a pain. It's not as bad as you could expect because the soft stats on this gun are not actually that horrible, so it's not that horrible. And now we know where the RD is, which is quite important, and the IS-7 shoots us in the side armor, while we get 613 roll into him, which is quite ridiculous. Highest roll you can get with this tank. So, now when we know where the RD is, we're gonna go fuck off from this side of the map and go to the other side. Because, fuck getting shot by RD. It's not very good for your health if you haven't noticed that. And now, very strong driving by our IS-5 and our E100. I don't even know why they decided to join me in this fashion, but whatever. I can overtake them both and cut their way and be the one that's first to engage. IS-8 is side scraping with an IS-8, which is usually not the best thing ever to do. And now I'm just gonna wait here till I reload. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna push out because here we could make the same mistake. We could try to trade shots when they peek, but from other hand we are outnumbering them severely, so we should just go for it and do damage here. I'll track the IS-7 one more time, and I get tracked, and I bounced the shot of my own 100. And our IS-8 dies. Very sad. So now, I try to get the lower plate of the IS-5. The penetration on this gun is not the strongest side of it. It's still alright, but a bit unlucky with that shot, I guess. Gonna try to reload and kill the IS-5 if there's anything left of him to even kill. And there isn't, so that's done at least. As for the cruise kills you want to use on the IS-7, definitely has to be everything that goes with aiming. So smooth right snapshot, all that nonsense. You always want to have a repair skill, 6th sense as always, and other than that there's nothing really that much important. The driver dies quite a lot, so jack of all trades is not gonna be the worst skill ever just to fix that driver, well, to avoid fixing that driver, since he's gonna perform almost like he usually does if you have the skill. Other than that there's nothing really that specific about the IS-7 that you need to know about. Safe storage is always nice, but just try to not get penned in the hull, aka if you don't have a choice, try to not over angle, because when you do, you're gonna get ammo wrecked, and when you do get ammo wrecked, you get almost completely combat ineffective, so try to avoid that if you can. And the driver is sitting in the lower plate, and I'm not sure about the gas tank. It could be somewhere around there as well, so it's critical module city. It's not as bad as with the Chinese tanks because the frontal armor is actually really good and it protects the crew pretty well, not the driver, but it protects the rest of the tank reasonably well. As long as you can stay hull down, this tank is pretty much invincible, as you saw in the previous game. Trying to get the RD here, not gonna sit in the open and aim for him for too long. He should die, but he won't, because, you know, friendly teams. How do they work? Gonna pick up the kill on somebody here. The pattern is pulling back, so I guess I'll just take this Scout Panther. Not very useful, but still better than nothing. So now, this is also one thing you can do. If you find a light tank or something like this waffle, you can push these things around and shoot through them, this is pretty much the best possible cover you can get into this game. There's nothing anyone can do against me in this position, so just try to find positions like this and try to exploit them as much as you can, and pick up the kill on the Artie before the fucker decides to shoot me. And look at this, the 50B is like, well, I'm gonna kill you now, I'll load it, and you just fired, but there's absolutely nothing he can do. I'm gonna push this guy, I'm gonna push him in the place where I can actually shoot the 50B, and the 50B is gonna die, as you can see. So basically the game plan in this game is to find a waffle, push the waffle, and kill everybody in their team with the waffle. And now the last campers left alive. Since I can't really push this guy any further, I am going to ditch him and go for the TDs now. Only 5 tanks remaining in their team, 4 of them are TDs camping in that corner, well 3 of them are definitely camping in that corner, and then we have the E4 a bit more to the left. I'm probably not going to bother with the E4 and just go for these guys to begin with, and then we'll see what happens. We're not actually, well, we are winning this game quite comfortably, but we don't really have a lot of people pushing for these TDs. It's just me, E75 and T34 pretty much, and the rest of them are engaging the outclimbing Panther and the E4, which isn't really the worst thing for me, because I can pick up way more damage than I would be able to otherwise here, so I'll go for that. The Panther is in the open, kills our scout, but I managed to put the juicy one right into his front. And now we're just gonna see what happens. I mean, I can push the peak at these guys. I don't really have that much gun diffusion. -6 is better than on the Chinese, but it's not much better than on the Chinese. Put a shot into the 268. That guy is actually gonna be pretty much the only problem I have here. He's relocating. The Yak Dagger kinda is staring at me, but I don't really mind. Shoot the 268 for a really unlucky roll, but then again it goes both ways, I guess. And he's actually going for it. He pretty well good play, I guess, since he didn't get shot. Obviously he got quite a bit lucky with shooting me in the lower plate while being on the move. But hey, he's also Russian, so that's how Russian tanks work. Pretty bad shot there, didn't track the Yak Dagger. At least I rolled high, which gives me quite a nice little damage booster there. He's just aiming while sitting on top of the hill, so I can pretty much the kill on him as well. The Yak Panther peeking now. He probably is going to die before I reload, but if not, I can easily finish him off as well. Still the 268 is my only problem here, really, and a bad shot by me. He bounces off my turret though, so it's still fine. Yak Panther dies by Artie, so I can use his corpse as cover quite easily here. The only problem I see here is if I go and show my roof to the 268, he actually might be able to pen me quite easily. I make the shot into his roof count, and now you see this angle is not very promising for me, but he takes a quick shot that doesn't pen. And now if I high roll, I can kill him, so I'm just gonna go around the corpse. This would have gotten me killed. As you can see, the traverse on this tank is just simply non-existent. But the Artie saves my ass, so the game is over. So here's the second end plate, the Ace Tanker 1896 experience without any doubles or anything. Steel wall, once again, high caliber, once again. 6081 damage done, 1286 assisted this time. This time actually went away with pretty good profit. I did a mission for 25k credits, but even without that, the profit would be decent. And who would have thought if you don't shoot like a monkey, you can actually make money in tier 10s, as long as you perform as you should. About this game, I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, this tank, when you go hull down, is just ridiculous, and as long as you stay hull down, you're pretty much invulnerable. So, that being said, I'm pretty sure we're ready to go to the verdict, so let's do that. So, is the IS7 worth the grind? Well, fuck yeah, it is. First of all, an extremely easy grind, a powerful tank after powerful tank, pretty much. The IS is probably the weakest in the entire line, but even that is still extremely capable. IS8 is a bit different than the rest of these tanks, but it's still good at what it does, and the gun on the IS8 is actually really, really nice. And as you see, the IS7 is a really, really capable tank. Still used in Clamors as well, which, if that's important to you, is even another added bonus. But even without that, the IS7 is one of the most played and one of the best heavy tanks at tier 10. It's quite specific as how it works, but it's not really hard to play. Just go for face sucks every time you can, and just try to not show people your sides, and you should be fine. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you on the next one. But here we have a game in the E50M on Himmelsdorf Encounter, playing with Zircon. He's playing the 430, and pretty sure it's Snooze playing the Prius.